Hi everyone, and thanks for joining us today for another exciting WordStream webinar. Oops, I ruined my AdWords account. My name's Chris, and I'll be moderating today's presentation. This webinar is brought to you by PPC University. It's our brand new learning site as part of WordStream, where you can actually learn pay-per-click advertising and Google AdWords. We have 3 guided courses from beginner to advanced. We have tons of free webinars and white papers and free tools to help you along the way. So definitely check that out when you get a chance. It's wordstream.com/learn. If you'd like to take part in blogging during today's webinar, you can include the hashtag WordStream in any of your social media channels. To meet today's presenter, we have with us Jeff Stevens. Jeff is a customer success specialist here at WordStream. He manages software and consulting clients at WordStream, and that's over 100 clients. He has past experience in agency consulting and for inbound marketing, and he's fully dedicated to pay search after just 8+ months here at WordStream. So welcome, Jeff. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Chris. Glad to be here.
So just to give you a little bit about WordStream, a quick background, WordStream is a search marketing software company. We're founded in 2007, located here in Boston, Massachusetts. We're number 184, the fastest growing private company in the U.S. We're the winner of the Best Customer Engagement Driver Award from MITx in 2012. And we're the leading provider of PPC Advisor, which is our pay-per-click management platform, the free AdWords and landing page grader, and we also offer expert PPC management services. For today's agenda, we'll go over the shocking truth about most AdWords accounts. We'll cover 5 actionable expert tips to turn that oops into yes in Google AdWords, and we'll be sharing real examples so you can walk away from this webinar and start trying it out today. You'll also learn how you only need 20 minutes per week to make an impact in your AdWords performance. And we'll save some time at the end of the webinar for a Q&A session, so definitely send along your questions throughout the presentation. So before we kick things off, let's learn a little bit about you. So we just like to get an idea of who we have on the webinar today. So I'm going to launch a couple poll questions. And if you could just pick the answer that best fits you, that'd be perfect. How much time do you spend doing work in your AdWords account every week? And your choices are, oops, I'm supposed to do work in my account each week, less than 1 hour per week, 1 to 10 hours per week, 10 to 39 hours per week, or 40+ hours a week. It's your full-time job. So it looks like the winner here is 1 to 10 hours a week, followed by less than 1 hour a week. So it looks like a majority of the people on the call today are in that 1 to 10 hour per week range. Jeff, are these results surprising to you at all?
You know, it's interesting. It definitely runs the gamut from what I've seen with a lot of the clients that I work with, just how often they're devoting time to their account. So it's certainly, you know, we have a good chunk of people here who, you know, are not spending a lot of time in their account each week, which is fine. Definitely, you know, this webinar is certainly catering to, you know, kind of the first half of you guys there, definitely. But this is a good mix here, so certainly a lot of varied experiences here on the webinar. So I'll be interested to see what the questions look like as we get through.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. So our second poll question here is, what's your biggest time sink in PPC management? And your choices are bid management, reporting and analysis, writing ad copy, doing keyword research, or landing page optimization. And Jeff, talking to a lot of our customers, what seems to be the biggest time sink in PPC management that you hear a lot?
Typically, I am seeing bid management and keyword research being some of the most, I guess, time-consuming activities. Bid management more so because a lot of users don't necessarily understand why they're making changes to bids, what they're doing in order to try and impact the account. So a lot of times it's not so much you're taking too much time on it, it's just you're spending way too much time to figure out what the action actually needs to be, versus keyword research can be fairly in-depth, so certainly something that can take a bit of extra time. I would imagine maybe the third would be writing ad copy, as certainly it can be one of those exercises that may stump you for a little bit because you have a lot of, you know, you have a limited amount of characters and kind of messaging that you can use in the ad, so I would imagine those would be the top 3.
Great. So doing keyword research is definitely on top there. Bid management falls a little bit down the line there, but definitely a majority of the people on here are having, you know, it's a time sink for them. So I think with the insights that Jeff's going to discuss with you today, I think we can definitely help some of these time sinks for you guys. And with that, let me just hand things over to Jeff, and we can actually get started with the presentation.
All right. Thanks so much, Chris, and thanks everybody for giving your answers there early on. Certainly very helpful for me to just get some context on who's on the webinar today. So just to give you a little bit of further background on myself and my history with WordStream here. So Chris mentioned that I had previously been working with an inbound marketing agency. I had worked there for about 1.5 years as a consultant for them. I would sell, plan, execute, and measure entire inbound marketing campaigns through the HubSpot platform, if any of you are familiar with that. However, a lot of trends in the industry were pushing people towards the paid search platform. I'm sure all of you are aware of algorithm changes and how they impact your digital marketing strategies. So part of that kind of led me towards the paid search universe, so to speak. So I have a very good friend here that works at WordStream. I was recruited over here, and I started up about 8 months ago. So don't let that kind of small time frame scare you in terms of the expertise level here. I'm sure some of you on the other end are very advanced and probably have some ideas that would go beyond my own. Working at WordStream is kind of like working in paid search in dog years. So I've definitely had a lot of different experiences in the paid search space. Chris again mentioned that I manage clients up to about 150 unique clients here. Those are software and consulting clients. So I work with a number of small businesses in a lot of different categories. So certainly as you're thinking of questions throughout the webinar, specific examples I'm going through, certainly feel like any question is going to be fair game here for me. I'll let you know if I really can't give you an answer, if I don't have experience on it, but for the most part I should be able to help you out fairly efficiently here. So with all that said, let's go ahead and start out with our first topic today. Just real quick, we're going to talk about the shocking truth about most AdWords accounts. So just a basic question here. What % on average does a small business waste each month on their AdWords spend? The answer may be quite shocking. About 25% of small businesses, well, they waste 25% or more each month on their AdWords spend. 25% of your spend is an incredible amount of money, especially when you're looking at, all these different service and product areas and how that kind of budget work in your account can translate to new sales or new leads. Depending on your industry, 25% of that wasted spend can definitely add up to a lot of lost business. So this is an infographic that you can find throughout the WordStream website, but we're essentially distilling this down to the fact that if that 25% of budget was being used for you more efficiently, you would be looking at potentially, 202 new student inquiries or new test drive appointments or gym memberships. Really trying to just put that number in perspective for you so you can understand the tangible relationship between that lost budget in your account and the actual business that you could be doing through AdWords. Another very basic question here. How often do small businesses that are spending under $5,000 per month in their account, how often do they actually work in their AdWords account? Well, we've found that about 50% of small business advertisers that are spending less than $5K or just around $5K don't even check their AdWords account once per month. This is slightly distressing for me. Certainly as a paid search manager, I am in accounts every day. I'm working with clients every other week or bi-weekly or even just every single week to actually manage their accounts, work with them and making tweaks. So the better advertisers are the ones that are in their accounts frequently and making changes and constantly monitoring things. Now, if we take this even further, about 25% of those advertisers haven't done anything in the last 90 days. It's pretty shocking, actually. Just doing work in your PPC account is probably the single easiest way to improve your results. Take this with a grain of salt, though. This doesn't mean that you just go into AdWords and start clicking around and things are starting to get better for you. You obviously need to have a good idea of what you're doing, but just simply getting in there, looking at your results, understanding some of the numbers that are coming through, and just trying to take an analytical approach to your account is something that's really, really going to help you understand where your wasted spend may be going and how you can potentially optimize around that spend. Even if you don't have a ton of AdWords experience, just looking in the account and getting in there and looking at the measures is going to help you raise some red flags and understand that you need to be in there making changes or seeking support from some external service or internally or what have you. So, again, 1% of all small business advertisers made changes every week in the last quarter. I'm working with clients that are on call with me each week. So we want to try and get you guys up into that upper tier here where you're doing consistent management in the account and you're feeling very comfortable about the optimization work that you're doing. Another question here, what % of AdWords accounts have at least one negative keyword applied to the account in the last 90 days? Well, Greater than 20% but less than 50%. So more than 20% and less than 50% of AdWords accounts have actually used at least one negative keyword in their account in the last 90 days. 20% of these accounts haven't used a negative keyword ever. This is also extremely distressing. A lot of accounts start out by kind of testing on broad match keywords, and then you start kind of whittling your way down into some of the more exact match types, long tail keyword opportunities, and a lot of the other kind of more refined optimization steps that you're taking. But if you're not applying negatives throughout that process, especially early on in the account when you're launching new things and you're kind of testing out new keyword categories, you're risking wasting a lot of money there. We'll talk a little bit more about negatives later on in the presentation, but one thing that we're always focusing on here at WordStream is whether or not you're actually applying negatives to the account. This is one of those big metrics that we're always looking for. So just keep in mind that if you haven't done much work with negatives in the last 90 days, that's something you're going to need to look into right away in your account, in addition to some of the other recommendations that will come through the webinar today. So kind of a takeaway from this, focus on your keyword relevance, focus on your keyword expansion, no matter what size your business is. Really, you're going to be looking for some of your best keywords in the early stages of the account. You're going to be testing on a lot of different topics, using maybe different open broad matches, modified broad, etc. Being able to actually get in the account, analyze that performance, either on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, is going to be a lot better than just kind of setting it to run and leaving it on its own for an extended period of time. AdWords is always changing. I like to look at it as kind of a mini stock market. There's competition always pulling in and out, different time of the day, different days of the week. There's a lot of different variables that are occurring that can impact how your account is performing that you'll actually need to look for in terms of signs and signals through your analytics in the account. And if you're not in the account, you're not going to see it and you're going to miss out on opportunity. So you may be wondering, based on kind of all this information that we have here, how did we actually get this data? We do have a performance grader that we provide on the website. It's called our PPC AdWords Performance Grader. This just gives you a baseline audit of your AdWords performance. It occurs in probably just under a minute to actually load all the information in there. Again, this is going to grade your account performance based on 10 key paid search metrics. One of the biggest one there is time spent in the account and also the application of negative keywords, so you can kind of see what you're doing there. You can see that Chris has actually provided a link here to the grader right there in the webinar interface. So if you do want to get to that right away and grade your account, certainly feel free to do so. But this grader is a lead generation tool for WordStream. All of our clients typically come through the grader in some fashion, and as a result, we have a lot of data to go off of. So we're sitting on, a good amount of performance data across a wide range of AdWords accounts. I believe we have analyzed upwards of at least $1 billion in spend. I believe it might even be up to $3 billion in AdWords spend over the past few years using this grader. So there's a lot of good data to go off of here, and that's certainly informing us in terms of understanding how most small business advertisers are approaching their AdWords accounts. And as you can see by some of the statistics we just relayed to you, things aren't looking too good right now in the small business space. So WordStream is definitely here to help, and hopefully some of the tips that we get into today are going to help you take immediate action in the account. So indeed, over $3 billion in ad spend has been graded. We have great insights into PPC success. Kind of repeating some of these statistics here again. 1 in 4 accounts have 0 negative keywords. Low quality scores are rampant in a lot of these small advertiser accounts. 50% of accounts have not even been optimized in the last 30 days, and 25% in the last 3 months. So some pretty shocking numbers here. Again, the average AdWords account for small and medium-sized businesses tends to be a disaster. I have a lot of clients coming to me through WordStream where I am looking at their account from a high level and I am struggling to find out what they're actually advertising on. This is going to be my first example today. So we're going to get into 5 actionable tips that you can use to kind of take your account from 0 to hero. Now, the first one that I mentioned here is, I've got a new client with WordStream. What's the first thing I'm doing? I'm just going to look at how they're actually setting up their account, what the structure looks like, and how they're naming things. So here's our first topic. AdWords is very hard, but the right tools and techniques and education can make it a lot easier for you. The first thing that you need to be thinking about to make AdWords easy for you and easy on your sanity is your account structure and your naming conventions. Now, before I get into some of the detail in this portion of the webinar, I do want to mention that there's going to be a lot more detail on these particular slides than what you were previously seeing. So if you do like to take screenshots and hold on to that information here, I would certainly recommend doing that. We will send out an archived version of this webinar and the slides, so you will eventually have those on hand. But if you want to start taking some immediate action based on these recommendations, there are a couple of tangible examples in here that you can certainly go with right away. But definitely just keep in mind there's going to be a lot more detail here on these particular slides. So before you do anything as a paid search advertiser, it doesn't matter if you're inheriting an account or you're starting it from scratch, you need to determine your account structure. How are you going to actually go ahead and do this? So how do you approach determining your account structure? Well, the first thing you need to decide right off the bat, are you an e-commerce advertiser or you are a lead generation advertiser? Do you provide a service or do you provide a product? Are people able to purchase that product on your site, or are you measuring conversions based on form fills or registrations or free assessments or something along those lines? That demarcation is going to help you in the long run in terms of setting up your account. Now, the second tip I can give you here for setting up your structure is to actually go to your website's navigation or menu structure. Review that structure, because what you're looking at there is the actual web asset that you have on hand that you can bring people to through paid search. You should not be thinking about building out your account based on pages that don't exist or based on content that doesn't exist on your website yet. You should be working with what you currently have, and in most cases your menu structure is going to inform how you structure your campaigns as well. And I'm talking about product categories, service categories, etc. So our third step here, if you're an e-commerce retailer, you need to differentiate your campaigns by your product categories. If you're a lead generation advertiser, you need to differentiate your campaigns by your service categories. Now, some of you may be saying, well, stop right there, Jeff. What about location-based targeting? Well, you don't need to worry about location-based targeting. You need to worry about setting up your campaign with a proper structure and then duplicating that campaign into your different location targets. And this is an example here where you can say, okay, let's say I'm, maybe I am a sporting goods retailer, and I sell baseball bats, baseball gloves, baseballs, and maybe say like T-ball sets, for example. And not only that, but I'm a unique retailer, right? I have about 4 stores, in the New England area. They're all spread out. And I want to drive foot traffic to my stores. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my campaigns around my product categories. I'm going to do my T-ball campaign. I'm going to do my baseball glove campaign. I'm going to do my bat campaign, and then my baseballs campaign. And then from there, once I determine that structure and what my ad groups are going to look like and how the keywords are going to be in that structure, I can then duplicate those campaigns and apply my location targeting settings. So don't worry about that build out. Only worry about getting a good structure in your account. And usually I like to start out by looking at that navigation menu or your just product menu or something along those lines to get a good feel as to how you need to organize your campaigns. The next most important thing here, though, is that as you're building out these campaigns, to use a common naming convention throughout your account. When labeling goes wrong in your account, a lot of problems are going to follow, especially if you plan on running this account for a long time. If you look in these examples here, this is an example of an account that came to me, and I was asked very simply, Jeff, can you tell me what I should change about my account? Well, when I first looked at it, I looked at their campaign folders here on the left-hand side. I challenge any of you on the call today to try and understand what this person is advertising, or to try and understand how this account is running or what their segmentation looks like in their campaigns. You simply can't do it. You have the labeling is all over the place. It's just really, really difficult to tell what's going on. It gets even worse when you separate this by your ad groups. So on the right-hand side, I opened up a couple of those campaign folders to check out what's going on. We've got an iPhone ad group in our Gazelle campaign. We've got it in our first test campaign here. We have so many different variations on these ad group titles. We have like cell computer number 2, just so much variation in your naming convention that it's just impossible for me as a manager in your account and as anybody who's going to look at your account at any point in time to really understand what you're trying to do here. If you don't have a naming convention, you are not going to be able to make sense of your account. It doesn't matter how familiar you are with your account and how often you're in there, you will eventually get lost. So what would this look like? How would I clean up this particular account? Well, let's go back. Let's take a look here. What I'm doing is I'm labeling all my campaigns very, very simply. So here I have, branding competitor terms. Very straightforward. I know exactly what I'm bidding on within that campaign. Apple laptop buyback terms. camera buyback terms general. So you can see that I have my very specific campaigns on my specific product or service categories. So I have my iPhone buyback, my Lenovo laptop, my Samsung Galaxy buyback, my Canon PowerShot buyback groups. But then, as a good advertiser, I'm also running campaigns on general terms. So I just kind of have like general buyback terms, general, or rather general computer and laptop buyback terms. And then we have general cell phone buyback terms. And then we also have general phone or laptop buyback terms. It's just when you have a structure like this where you can go in and look at your campaign titles and actually understand exactly what you're advertising within the campaign, your life is going to become so much easier in terms of really understanding what is doing well on your account and what may need some work. So if we take this to kind of our ad group structure, looking here on the right-hand side, you'll notice that my ad groups now all have a consistent naming convention, and my ad group names directly reference the keywords that I'm bidding on within the ad group. So if I were a paid search manager and you handed me this account, I would look at my cash for computer ad group, for example. I would look at that ad group title, and I would expect to see nothing else in that ad group other than keywords that contain the phrasing cash for computer. If there's anything else in that ad group that doesn't match up with that labeling and that keyword structure, I'm pulling it out and I'm putting it into its own ad group so I can better measure it and keep the organization in my account. I cannot stress enough how important it is to keep a consistent naming convention throughout your AdWords account. If you have a team of managers on the account, make sure that that is determined beforehand so that everybody is on the same page. Otherwise, you are going to end up with a mess like this, and you're going to come back to your account like one of these bad advertisers does a month down the line, and you're going to have no idea what's going on. One of the second most kind of common axioms here with paid search is that you get what you put in. So a little work every week on your AdWords campaigns can deliver some pretty big dividends. This tip here is going to speak towards those advertisers that do not spend a lot of time in their accounts, those advertisers that maybe have only been there maybe once a month or every other month or even after a 90-day period. So if you're one of those advertisers that we've mentioned earlier who's barely touched your account, you definitely need to take steps to remedy this situation. And if you're wondering, well, Jeff, where do I start? There's a lot of stuff going on here. What should I look at first? The first thing that you should peer into in your account after a long time away from the data is your Google search query report. The report's going to tell you actual search queries that were used by searchers to trigger your ads, and it's going to give you the performance metrics behind those search queries. So what is this report really used for? It's going to tell you how searchers are actually triggering ads in your account and what you're truly paying for. You're also going to be able to find potential new keywords or new keyword phrases that you can add to the account, and you can find potential negative keywords as well. One of the biggest things that this report does for you, though, is it gives you revealing insights into match type misuse or improper keyword selection within the account. So what does the report actually look like? This is a report that I've pulled here. Very, very basic account. This person is selling different types of plants online. This report is actually going to show you the search queries that triggered your ads. What's important about that is you're going to see queries in here that pretty much exactly match up to what you're actually advertising on, which is great. You'll always want to see that data. But you're also going to be seeing some results in here that are a little bit outlandish. So you might start seeing some more kind of long tail searches if you're using a lot of broad match keywords, for example. You might see some searches that have absolutely no relevance to your actual ad, but you were getting clicks anyway. This report can be very shocking occasionally, especially if you have not come into your account for a while. Perhaps you are running a lot of broad match keywords, modified broad, maybe even some phrase in there as well. This report is going to tell you what you're spending money on, and sometimes that's not going to look so good. But the benefit of getting into this report first thing is first of all, you can tell if there's a problem. So you'll know right away, am I paying for clicks that are irrelevant to my business? And then second, you can immediately start taking action from this report. So you can get those types of queries that are triggering your ads and getting clicks that aren't relevant to your business and generating conversions. And from those queries, you can start assigning negative keywords in your account. If you haven't been doing negatives yet, this is the first approach that you should take for assigning negatives to your AdWords account, by jumping into this search query report and sifting through the data to find those potential searchers that triggered your ads, resulted in a click, but really would never have any chance of converting because that query was irrelevant to the business. On top of that, again, you'll be finding new keywords you can add. So one of the ways you can use this report is you can get into it, and maybe you can sort by conversions. So you'll notice that you're having some search queries coming in that are resulting in conversions for your business, but you didn't actually have that keyword within the account. And you notice that that keyword is a little bit different from what you're bidding on Broadmatch, for example. And maybe that keyword got like 100 impressions, and you had a 5% click-through rate, and your conversion rate was somewhere around 20%. That's absolutely an opportunity that you can capitalize on with that particular term. You can pull it directly from the search query report, enter it into your account. Probably want to use maybe some sort of more restrictive match type there on a very specific query like that, so phrase or exact perhaps. And then that's another opportunity for you to expand your reach and generate additional conversions in the account. So I recommend for those advertisers that are not using this report, even if you go into your account, on a weekly basis, bi-weekly or what have you, I would definitely incorporate a search term review exercise into your workflow each week if you could. And for those advertisers that have not looked at their account in a while, this is one of the first things that you should take a look at, because it's going to reveal quite a bit, and you'll be able to take some direct action from this report as soon as you load it up. Okay, so this third section here is just about tips for keeping your AdWords house clean. So one of the activities that you're always looking to do in AdWords is pausing, fixing, or just eliminating irrelevant and underperforming keywords in the account to maximize your return on ad spend. So we're going to talk about the process of pruning through your keyword list. And we're going to do this at a very high level. So the first step that you should do to kind of start pruning through your keyword list is you should go to your AdWords or maybe even your WordStream account, go to your full account view. Then go to your campaigns tab and sort your campaigns by your overall spend. This is what I do all the time with client accounts here at WordStream. I'll just go in, I'll identify that campaign that has the highest spend associated with it. I'll look and see if those conversions are coming through, what the cost per conversion value is like. Are those conversions justified? Are we spending too much for these conversions? As a result, our campaign is also spending the most out of all of them. What can we do here? How can we pare down this cost and make things a little bit more efficient in the account? So identify that top spending campaign, and then go over to your keywords tab so that you can view the full list of campaign keywords. And then what I typically do is I'll sort those keywords by impressions. So looking at a quick example here, here's kind of my sorting job on this particular report. So right now we're looking at my top impression getting keywords in this particular campaign that I've pulled out. Right away, we're right at the top of this list. We have a keyword here with 80,000 impressions and a 0.9% click-through rate, 0 conversions. We spent $1,200 on this keyword to get nothing. This is a keyword you absolutely need to pause right away. You need to take note of this because it has a low quality score, high impression, low click-through rate, high cost, no conversions. The columns that I have highlighted here are the signals that you're looking for in these specific examples. So again, this is a keyword that we're definitely going to want to pause. Now, if you look at this keyword and you say, well, wait a minute, Jeff, this is something that I definitely need to have in my account because it's super relevant to my business. Well, then we need to talk more so about maybe using a more restrictive match type, so going from broad to phrase or exact, or just trying to revamp the ad group that this exists in general to better cater the ad text towards the keyword. There are a lot of different directions you could go in, but this should be a huge red flag for you if you see stats that are similar to this, where you have a large amount of impressions, very few clicks at a super high cost without any actual conversions being tracked. Especially if you know that your conversion tracking is set up properly and you're not getting anything there, you deeply need to consider turning off this keyword. So again, kind of what are you looking for here? Well, in terms of impressions, you're looking for impressions that are too high without enough engagement metrics behind them. What are those engagement metrics? Click-through rate, conversions. That's what you're looking at there. You should look at also keywords that have a certain amount of clicks. So the click volume is too high to justify the conversion cost. So in this instance, you're looking at the total number of clicks, and then you're looking at the number of conversions. And then alongside that conversion column, you're looking at cost per conversion. That cost per conversion number is extremely important. You should not care about your conversion rate or how many conversions you get until your cost per conversion is pared down to the point where it's actually justifiable in terms of your ROI. So right here again, When you're looking at something that has a high volume of clicks, let's then move our eyes over to the conversion column and see how things are going. Let's look at that cost per conversion column. And if things are looking pretty bad right there and you're tight on cash, definitely going to be best to pause that until you can revamp that keyword, perhaps use a more restrictive match type. And in this example, you can see here that a lot of the keywords that are having the performance that we're seeing in this view are all on broad match. That should be an indicator to you right away. If you do have a lot of broad match keywords running in the account, you'll probably want to go through and prune those out, doing a process just like this. And then consider using some more restrictive match types, like exact match or phrase match. Those clicks tend to be a little bit less expensive on the more restrictive match types. And also when you're using those, you can rest assured that your clicks are a lot more qualified for your business because they're using a more refined search query to get to your actual ad than a broad match search. And of course, another indicator here is quality score. So if you have low quality scores and you're getting some click volume, maybe even some conversion volume, if you're below a 5 on your quality score, you're actually paying a premium for that click, and you need to think about if that's some wasted spend for you or not. Again, look at that cost per conversion number if you do get conversions on that particular term that has a low quality score. If that cost per conversion justifies it, you can absolutely keep it running. But if it's not justified, you're going to need to make some adjustments there, either using more restrictive match types or working through the ad group to better cater the ad text towards your actual keywords within the ad group. Okay, topic number 4. This is going to be goal setting. So knowing what you want defines and simplifies your workflow. So here's the dreaded request I hear all the time from my clients. Hi, Jeff. Great to talk to you today. I'd like to get more business, or I'd like to get more conversions. How do we do that? That's a very revealing question to me as a paid search manager. If I have somebody coming to me and that's their goal, like I ask you what your goal is and your goal is to increase your conversions, I immediately know that you're not thinking about your AdWords account in a very analytical perspective or with an analytical approach. And that's also going to lead me to think that you might not have a very strategic approach to your account as well. So what you need to do is start out small in terms of your goal setting. You need to set incremental goals month over month, whether that's taking your overall click volume and doubling that month over month, whether that's taking your click-through rate and moving it from 2% in your top performing campaign to 4%. Do not think in terms of these big picture goals with AdWords because you're not going to be able to drill down and get the measurement to the point where you can understand how those goals are being impacted. You'll only know how you can affect that goal, like increasing conversions, by affecting additional performance metrics in your account. So you need to start out by looking at things like click-through rate, overall click volume over a certain period of time. You need to really, think about understanding the level of volume you need in your account in order to capture the engagement, in order to get positive ROI in the account. If you don't have a sense of what volume you need in order to get the conversions that are going to justify your ad spend, then you need to get away from increasing conversions and you need to get closer to really understanding what that volume needs to be like in order to achieve that goal. So again, start out small, set month-to-month goals. Even if that goal is more task-based, like this month I'm going to create my campaign for this product category. And then this month I'm going to go back into that campaign and I'm going to try and double my click-through rate. These are realistic goals, but a goal like increasing your conversions is not something that's going to be very applicable. In fact, increasing conversions, if you talk to any paid search manager here at WordStream, is going to be considered a tertiary goal. If you have a good offer, a good landing page and website, then your conversions are going to take care of themselves. The only thing that matters is getting people to your website to convert on your offer. None of that, comes into play. Your conversion optimization, all comes down to your small tweaks in your actual account in terms of your keyword selection, your structure, ad text writing, and then working with those metrics to try and determine small goals that will get you to where you need to be with your conversions. So again, increasing click-through rates on particularly profitable campaigns, trying to double your click volume in certain areas, or even just simply increase it by a 25% margin. These are the small goals you need to have in mind in your account rather than just thinking about generating more business. That's going to flow from your actual offer and your website. You need to focus on metrics that are focused on getting people to that portion of your site. If you're not focused on that, conversions aren't going to follow. Now, my final big disclaimer here in terms of realistic goal setting, kind of going back into that task-based idea of goals. Do not try to build out your full product suite or service suite through AdWords the first time you build out an account. This is really applicable to those of you that are building out for the first time, or maybe you're kind of getting back into a campaign that was a complete mess and you needed to turn a lot of things off in order to save the spend and get better ROI in certain areas. You really need to think about just starting small. So testing on a campaign structure for 1 month on one product, measuring success on that particular structure, and then applying that to additional products. So establish an effective structure and kind of set those benchmarks based on click volume, conversion rate, cost per acquisition, a number of different metrics there, and then start building out from that point moving forward. If you try and take on the whole animal in your first go-through with AdWords, things are going to get frustrating, and you're also not going to be able to get a handle on the full measurement of the account right away. And then our final tip here is that succeeding in AdWords is all about relevance. You need to give the searcher a direct link to what they're looking for. I talk to my clients about this very frequently. I characterize the AdWords market as a very transactional market. What I mean by that is that the audience that you're appealing to through paid search is just like a fast food customer. They're coming through, they're looking for ads, they're going to give them instant gratification. They're looking for coupon codes. They're looking for discounts. They want to find an ad that is differentiating itself from the other advertisers and has what they want right behind it. So if you're not doing the best job that you can to give that searcher the instant gratification that they're looking for by clicking on your ad, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunity. And this all just comes back into making sure that your ad relevance and landing page relevance is in line with your actual keyword selection. So I'm going to pull up a very specific example here of an ideal keyword, text ad, and landing page alignment structure. So in this example, we're looking at a retailer that sells different archery products. This is an ad group that I set up for the client here. They have a particular product known as Toxic Broadhead. So Toxic is the brand of the arrow head that they are selling. We have a Toxic Broadhead on Modified Broad, Phrase Match, and Exact Match. We're actually using a strategy here called stacked bidding. It's very effective for testing out new keyword categories. And you can see that this is all I have in my ad group. These are the only keywords that I'm using. Very, very straightforward. And then if we look at my actual ad text, so just get a close look here at kind of that keyword setup that we have. Some pretty nice stats flowing through this right now. If we then go and we look at our actual ad text here, I'm being extremely straightforward here. I'm just using my keyword right there in the headline. I want to meet that searcher directly on their search. So if they type in Toxic Broadheads exactly, I want them to see that right in my headline. Also, Google's going to help us out by bolding out that text, making it a lot easier to read and more prominent for the advertiser. And then in here, I'm kind of testing out two versions of ad copy. So I'm actually testing out a free shipping and coupon code offer, and then I'm also just testing out just free shipping. So this is the type of structure you always want to look for in ad groups. Very specific keywords. You know, going back to our original example, hopefully they have some good naming conventions going on there. And then we want to make sure that our ad text is in close alignment with these keywords in terms of actually using the keyword right there in the headline and then also referencing another kind of snippet of that keyword in terms of broadheads right there in that actual description text. And then, of course, we would be doing a disservice if we just took these people to our home page, right? So we want to take them directly to the Buy Now page for these particular products. It doesn't make any sense at all for me to take them to a home page because these people are looking to buy. I gave them a coupon code. I'm talking about my shipping. These people see my ad and they're just like, okay, this is where I need to go to buy broadheads. Maybe they'll do a little bit of price shopping comparison, but I'm pretty confident that I have the best price in the market. If I create this type of alignment in my actual ad groups here, I'm going to win big. And you can actually see that we have some very, very good results right here in this particular ad group. We have some excellent kind of conversion rates here. We have an 18% conversion rate across these phrase and exact match versions of these keywords. So things are going very well here. This is a structure that you should absolutely look at replicating for some of those core keywords in your account. So kind of using this multi-match type structure. Use these ads here as examples of how do you want to incorporate the best practices, and then of course make sure that that landing page is closely aligned to that particular offer as you can get it. So that wraps up on my kind of 5 key points here. I'm just going to go into a couple of selling points here for WordStream software. But before I do that, just want to talk a little bit more about quality score and kind of going off of this relevancy discussion. If you're not familiar with quality score, this is a big metric that's driving a lot of performance and a lot of different kind of optimization tweaks in your account. So quality score is essentially a factor of your ad text relevancy, your landing page quality, and your click-through rate. So having that relevant ad text, again, is going to increase your click-through rate, improve your quality score, and lower your cost per click. So in this example, one of these ads is doing very well. We have the query as men's leather shoes, size 9. You want to make sure that you have those keywords directly in your actual headline in that ad text. And then you want to make sure that this is actually taking somebody over to a landing page with like size 9 men's shoes, because if we were taking somebody to a different shoe size landing page, then they would get frustrated and bounce off the page. I think some people would still, maybe give you a free pass there and go over to the size 9, but if we can be as relevant as possible, there's no reason not to do so. So the question is then, we're kind of attacking you early on here. We're saying, you guys are bad managers. You're not in your account often enough. Well, you might be asking yourself, well, Jeff, there's a reason for that. Like, I'm a small business owner. I don't have time to do this. How do I actually, in 20 minutes per week, how can you make an impact on your keyword and your AdWords performance? WordStream certainly has a tool that can help you with this. Our software is dedicated around this particular tool called the 20-minute workweek. This is designed to reduce and reallocate wasted spend. These are automated and actionable alerts for you to take, and we're doing a bunch of back-end analysis to give you these recommendations through the 20-minute workweek. And essentially, we're looking at, giving you this workflow here that's only going to take you about 20 minutes to act on in your account. And we're referencing key areas in the account that you always need to be considering in terms of paid search management. So here's an account. We're just going to kind of pull up one of their examples of their workweek alerts here. You can see that our first alert is the add negative keywords alert. This is actually going through your campaign search query data to find potential negatives you would want to add to your account. So we're looking at the actual data that's come through based on what your ad is generating, and we're looking for different keywords that we can actually apply as negatives to the account. Very, very sophisticated tool here. Optimize keyword bids. Again, looking through your account, all the targets and kind of limit parameters that you have set around your budget. We're looking for key signals like good ROI on keywords or good quality score or poor average position. These are all the signals that we're looking at in order to actually optimize your bids, either moving bids up or down within the account. That tool is actually going to give you the recommendations and will let you apply those bid recommendations directly through the alert. The add keywords alert here, similar to that add negative keywords alert, it's looking through your search query data to find you potential keywords to add to the account to expand your reach, potentially drive more conversions, and just generate more traffic around your actual website. Optimize ads is great for finding some of those low-hanging fruit ad opportunities in terms of incorporating best practices. This is going to look at ads that are underperforming relative to a campaign average. So we're looking at click-through rate and conversion rate, and we're going to determine whether or not ads need to be improved based on that. We're also going to alert you to ad groups that could benefit from having mobile text ads created. So you will see alerts in here for an ad group that maybe gets like 30% of its impressions through mobile devices. If that's the case and you don't have a mobile preferred ad in there, we're going to warn you about that and give you the opportunity to create it directly from the alert here. And then finally, review costly keywords is going to open up some keywords in your account that are actually underperforming from a cost perspective, so you're spending way too much on them. The CPA is too high compared to the rest of the keywords in the account. A number of different signals are going to inform this alert, and you'll have the ability to pause those keywords directly from the alert. But I also kind of use it as a red flag, just know when I need to go into an ad group and potentially make some adjustments. So again, our overall key to success here is ad relevancy, making sure your ad, your landing page, and your keywords are all in line with each other. Your conversion rate optimization and your conversions are all going to come down to that user experience on your website. Sometimes it's a tough sell to advertisers, but you might be doing really well in your account from a click-through rate perspective. You're hitting all the numbers in terms of your keywords and just overall performance there, but your conversion rates are doing pretty badly. Sometimes it just comes down to the web asset that you're working with and potentially revamping your landing pages or trying to improve the experience on your site. So some keys to success in relevancy are obviously landing page creation and lead tracking. We have incorporated a full landing page tool in the WordStream platform, so if you were to use WordStream, you would have the ability to create unique landing pages directly within the tool. So this is great for those of you that are small businesses that maybe you're not as agile as you could be in terms of creating pages or hiring a designer or working with a web developer. This is a great tool because it kind of holds your hand through the whole process of creating the page, and it's extremely easy to create on-the-fly landing pages that are targeted to your unique ad groups. And at the end of the day, the big key to success here is to actually understand how you're performing. So another tool that we provide to you in WordStream here is just a general PPC success report. We're going to give you a high-level overview as to how your account is performing from a search performance perspective. So we'll have this for you each month, and you can always go back into previous months. This report also contains some kind of 6-month metrics, so we're always tracking your overall CTR, overall CPA, overall cost in the account, max cost per click, etc. There's a lot of great metrics in this report. If you're an agency, this is excellent for serving to clients to give them a good overview as to how things have been going in the account. But also as a paid search manager on my own end, I love to go into these reports here and just get a great perspective on a new account that's been handed to me so that I can really understand how things have been looking in the previous periods. So just a quick summary for today. Again, the harsh truth about most advertisers' accounts is that they're pretty bad. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's just no management actually happening in the account, but AdWords is always evolving. Competitors are pulling in and out. Keywords are changing. Prices are changing. If you're not in there consistently, you're going to wind up getting into some sticky situations there. Now, remember to go back and review these 5 actionable tips that we went through. I hope that those were good so that you can kind of pull them out and start taking direct action from those. Certainly let me know if you have any questions on those specific examples when we get to Q&A. Now, if you're interested in understanding how you're performing in your AdWords account, make sure you do take advantage of that free landing page grader we have, and Chris obviously sent out that link there over the webinar chat. And then also really know the importance of quality score. Think of PPC campaign work as a recurring weekly task. And the little selling point here, just keep in mind that WordStream does have a good solution for this that kind of enables that 20-minute workflow each week. And at the end of the day, you know, your keys to success are going to be getting those good reporting tools, creating relevant landing pages, tracking your leads, and just maintaining that relevancy throughout your account. All right, and so that's it for me. I'll definitely be taking questions here at the end, but Chris, if you want to just communicate the special offers here, but that's all I got for today.
Yeah. Thanks, Jeff, and thank you, everyone, for all the questions you're sending. We're going to jump right into Q&A here. I just wanted to throw a couple special offers. We like to offer these at the end of our webinar. So a couple special offers here. It's a free live demo of WordStream's 20-minute PPC work week. So Jeff's touched on that a little bit. That's a custom demo to you, so you can upload your account. You can work with a PPC expert here, and they can kind of show you the 20-minute work week that we briefly talked about, and that includes the landing pages and leads and PPC reporting as well. Another offer here is a free one-on-one AdWords Grader walkthrough with a PPC expert. So what that is the AdWords Performance Grader that we were talking about. That's, you know, the tool that helped us generate all this info that we presented to you guys today. What we believe to be what makes a successful AdWords advertiser. So what that is they'll walk through your personalized report. It generates for you in about a minute, and you can get a little deeper insight on how your account's performing and where you can make improvements with the low-hanging fruit there. And the third thing is just nothing at the moment. So if these offers aren't enticing, you know, feel free to check that off. So let's get right into Q&A here. A lot of you are asking where to find information if you're a novice, just getting started with AdWords, or maybe you are even an expert. You're just looking to learn more information. I sent a link out a little bit earlier in the presentation for our PPC University. So definitely give that a check that out after the webinar. It's all free. We have 3 guided courses from novice to expert, so you can go through the three guided courses. You can learn it actually starts off as basic as, you know, what is AdWords, you know, what is PPC, and then it gets into really advanced stuff as you go on. So that's wordstream.com/learn. Check that out. So Jeff, let's just jump right into the questions here. Thank you, everyone, for sending them along. The first question here is, how frequently should I be checking the Google search query report? And Jeff, if you could just kind of explain where people can find this report. That was another kind of sub-question to that.
Sure, sure. So to answer the first question about reviewing the report, if you're a good manager, I would recommend taking a look into that at least on a weekly basis, if not bi-weekly. It's fairly real time in terms of being able to report that search query data usually within 24 hours after it comes in. One thing to keep in mind with that report as well is that it doesn't reveal all of your search query data. So Google's not going to give you every single search query that triggered your ad and generated a click. It's going to give you a small subset of that. It's, I mean, you can't quote me on it here, but it's usually around like a 15 to 20% of your full search query data. It's an excellent report to keep getting insights into, though, so I would definitely recommend looking at it on a weekly or bi-weekly basis if you can. If you can't do it weekly, at least set aside some time bi-weekly to get in there and take 10 to 15 minutes just to walk through it. You can probably pull out some things fairly quickly from that report. And certainly as you get through it more and more and your account matures, you'll start seeing that there might be less opportunity to act on in that report. But those are all good signs. That means you're doing a good job of kind of creating the alignment between your keywords and your business relevancy. So definitely keep that in mind. Now, in terms of accessing the report, it is a little bit difficult to find in AdWords. Essentially what you're going to do in AdWords is go to your Keywords tab. It doesn't matter if you're on the ad group or the campaign level. And what you'll want to do is select your keywords on that level, so campaign or ad group, and select them using kind of the bulk select on the left-hand side. And then you'll see an option, I believe it is Insights, or I believe that's what it's called. It's a drop-down that allows you to then open it up, and it will say Insights, and then from there it'll actually say Search Terms, and if you click on All, it will generate that Search Terms report. If I could, I would show you how to get there in the account right now. Hopefully that was straightforward enough, but just remember to get to that Keywords tab, select the keywords that you want to review the search query data performance for, and then you'll find that Insights option. I'm not sure if that's what the drop-down is named. Actually, I can go and check this real quick for you just to get a good answer. And while I'm doing that, Chris, just feel free to pose another question here.
Sure, sure. And I just want to let everyone know, too, we will be sending out links to the slides in the webinar recording. So I know we're kind of going through this information fast here, and I know you have a lot of questions coming through, so we'll definitely send those out so you guys can check it out on demand. But moving on to our next question here, Jeff, is do you have a good rule of thumb of the sample size of how many clicks you're receiving and not getting conversions before you might say, that's enough, I should pause that, or I should end that that ad from running?
It depends on your business. It's all going to come down to the volume that you're getting behind that keyword and kind of the match type that you're using there. Typically if you're using a broad match keyword, you're going to get a lot of impressions, potentially a lot of clicks as well. The big measure to be looking at there is your click-through rate. So if you think that that keyword is one that needs to be in your account and it's very relevant to your business and you're getting clicks on it but no conversions, and your click-through rate is like hovering below a 1% mark, that is usually an indicator of an issue with that keyword selection or that match type usage. So I'm more focused on the click-through rate there. I don't know if it's I don't think it's really a click number threshold. It really comes down to what that engagement is like on the ad based on your impressions, which is obviously your click-through rate there.
Okay, great. So the next question we have here is, how long should you let your campaigns run before pruning your keyword list?
1 month. That's typically my time frame. 1 month is going to be enough for you to really tell what the overall performance would like, kind of maybe on a 6-month view. If you need to act quickly, 3 weeks is your minimum for analyzing that performance. So I typically like to take that 1 month view, and that's the approach that I like to take, especially when I'm implementing a new structure. I would definitely recommend running that for about a month before you take any drastic action in the account. And circling back here on my answer for the search query report, just for those of you that were wondering on where to get it, what you'll be doing again is going to that Keywords tab and selecting your keywords that you'd like to see the search query data behind, and you'll find a Details drop-down. It's not the Insights drop-down as I incorrectly stated earlier. It is the Details drop-down, and you'll see that the first option is Search Terms underneath that, and when you click on All, it will get search terms for all of the keywords or selected for those keywords that you have selected. So it is a bit hidden, but just want to emphasize that it's that Details drop-down on your Keywords tab.
Great, thanks, Jeff. And our next question here is, can you just briefly talk about, what a negative keyword is and why a negative keyword is important to have in your account? Negative keywords.
Sure. Sure. So negative keywords are keywords that you're using to block out unwanted search queries from triggering your ad. So certain retailers may be using terms that are used differently in different areas of the world, or maybe there's just kind of synonyms or something that are commonly used. So for example, you're a retailer that maybe you don't want to have anybody come to your site that is looking for for deals, for example. So let's say you're a golf club retailer and somebody's looking for like Callaway golf club deals. Well, you don't want that person to come to your site. You're a premium retailer. You're not giving any special offers. You're catering to a more sophisticated buyer. If you were to apply the term deals as a negative keyword in your account, you would be blocking out that search query from potentially triggering your ad. So you're using negative keywords to filter the search queries that can actually trigger your ad and potentially generate a click for you and incur a cost. So negative keywords are a great cost-saving measure, and they're a great way to refine your keyword match type usage. So if you're using a lot of broad match keywords, for example, you're going to need to be heavily reliant on applying negatives so that you can make sure that the traffic that's coming to your keyword is actually relevant to your business product or service. So in general, negatives are going to be really helpful for that. There are different strategies for negatives. There's a very good article that can help you with this. It has a good summary. I'm actually going to put that into the chat here. Let me just pull it up real quick here. And let's see. Let's see, match types. Negative keyword match types. Okay. Perfect. Here we go. I'm just going to drop this in here for those of you guys that would like to reference the article. I sent that to... Actually, hey, Chris, so I put that link in there for you. If you want to copy that over and send it out to the audience, as I can't do it from my end.
Sure. Awesome.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah, hopefully that was a good overview with negative keywords, but it's definitely a critical piece of the account.
Great. We have a lot more questions that are coming through. I think we're running a little short on time here, so I apologize if we didn't get to your questions, but definitely feel free to give us a call or contact us, and we'll try to answer as many questions as we can. So just kind of ending here with the Q&A. Someone was just asking, how much should a small, medium-sized business spend on PPC per month to get the best return, in your opinion?
It comes down to, again, planning out which products you actually want to advertise or which services you want to advertise. So you have to make a decision, do I want to put everything that I'm selling or that I'm providing online right now, or do I want to start small and kind of work off of maybe my most popular service and then go from there? That's going to give you a good indication as to how much you need to be spending in order to get proper ROI. The worst thing you can do as an advertiser in paid search is throw more money at an improperly performing account. You shouldn't be increasing your budget or adding to your budget just to try and get more clicks. You should be more so working on the structure and making sure that things are refined and generating relevant search queries for your business. So there's no threshold budget that you need to spend to get positive ROI. It's more so making sure that you're not putting too much out there at the start, and you're slowly kind of working up from like a top performing campaign or a top performing product type, and then building out from there. AdWords is all about testing, so you're not going to know whether or not this product is going to be profitable or whether or not you're going to be able to compete in the AdWords market on a certain product or service until you give it a run. But you should always start out with kind of that one category or that one service that you really want to get out there and really want to start promoting right away.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. I think you just need to share your screen on the
okay.
question. I mean, the slides.
Oh, sure. Yep. So we're looking at that article I sent along here. Okay. All right. All right. So thank you guys for the questions, though. Lots of good stuff here. And certainly, even though we weren't able to get to everything today, I would certainly invite you to pose any questions to our support line here at WordStream. I'd be happy to give out my direct email, too, if any of you want to pose some questions there. Chris, if you want to type that in, that's totally cool. Feel free to send questions my way. Might not be able to get to everything, but definitely, if you need some help or you're looking for a quick reference article, I'd be happy to help you out there.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff, and thank you, everyone, for attending today. Again, if you want to run the WordStream AdWords Performance Grader, you can check that out at wordstream.com/goal-AdWords. Definitely give us a call if you have any additional questions. We do a few of these per month, so definitely keep checking back on the website, and we hope to see you again.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Have a great day, everyone.